revolution is? Are we still marching up and down the streets and trying to get people to use a plan that has expired generations ago? See, the one thing we can do as black people, and Garvey has always talked about, was self-development. Make yourself a better person. Make yourself a better African. So when I take the mic or take the stand or anything that I can share with people, I was just sharing with Brother Davu my few trips to Africa. I have a school in Africa. I've been there a few times, and that's something I'm going to talk about this evening as well. I'm just setting up the premise because I want our people to start thinking differently. Start understanding that this world belongs to us. Not just Africa, not just the US, not just the Caribbean, but this planet belongs to us. We watch other groups go around and flex their financial muscle, their cultural muscle, their spiritual muscle. Meanwhile, we're still rabble-rousing. Many people could quote Dr. John Henry Clark, but many people haven't absorbed the lessons that he gave us. I always encourage people, go look at the Great and Mighty Walk. He talked against marching. He said when you look at the Asians, they had bombs dropped on them and they didn't do no protesting and no marches. He said they went back and did some astute planning. Now, if anybody's familiar with history, you would know that less than 100 years ago, the Chinese were one of the most poorest countries in the world. Less than 100 years later, they're a superpower. Arguably, the strongest superpower right now. My point is that we have to look within ourselves and then check our circle, because we are critical mass right now. We don't have time to talk about who built the pyramids when our people are homeless. We don't have time to talk about what came first, the chicken or the egg, because in the end they both get fried. We don't have that luxury. So family, I'm gonna wrap it up because I just want to let everybody know that please tune in to Thorough Black Talk. I didn't bring any images, but I do have a program going on right now on the continent of Africa, in Accra, where they are giving away land. You would only have to pay for your lawyers and the chief to have the certification and just have everything on record, legitimately and legally. Well, we're going in February, right? Your sister Keisha's been there, right? But let me tell you something. There's no better feeling than seeing police and not cringing. There's no better feeling than when you see the police, they're friendly and helpful and they're happy to meet you. There's opportunities everywhere. There's opportunities all over this place that we should be taking advantage of. And I'm not saying we disregard our citizenship here. However, there's other opportunities, but when we're stuck in this paradigm like we have to be these people's footstools, that's our bad. You know, you could blame somebody for knocking you down, but who do you blame when you don't get back up? We have to take accountability for what's going on in our community.
So it just lets me know that I was supposed to be there. And we made a vow that from that point on, that I would be engaged in heavy study and get active in the community. And so that's how it all came to be. In the Democratic Party or the Republican Party. Shout out to Jonathan, I see you, boy. But we have no business in either party. And as my brother Tad said, there are too many charlatans amongst us. And they come out with this trick language to get you to guilt trip you into voting for the lesser of two evils, which makes no sense to me. Evil is evil and stay the hell away from it. That's why we're suffering, because we keep trying to engage in evil. And so being amongst the freedom of United African Movement, the formation of the Freedom Party, I said we gotta be involved, 100%. It's a reciprocal relationship, just like your home. If my husband didn't do what he was supposed to do, he would be divorced. Facts. But we all gonna die. What are you gonna tell Malcolm? What are you gonna tell Harriet? What about your grandmother who was running from master? What about your grandfather who might have been raped by master? What are you gonna tell them? Jesus ain't gonna be waiting for you, neither is Muhammad or Allah or anybody else. Your ancestors will be your testimony to whatever God you worship. You gotta pass through them first.
Was a woman by the name of Charlotte Bass, who was one of the first black women to own her own publishing company. Who else came together? A woman by the name of Audley Moore.
Oh, Queen Mother Moore.
Who she was?
Queen Mother Moore.
Queen Mother Moore. Again, we're talking 1951. Who else came together? These women put the call out to meet with the President of the United States. These are black women. One of them was Shirley Du Bois. The great Bea Richards. You ever hear of her? Anybody see the movie Guess Who's Coming to Dinner?
Yeah.
Bea Richards played the mother of Sidney Poitier. But she also, before that, she was a stage and poet. She did a poem. She wrote a poem called A Black Woman Speaks. And she wrote it in 1950. And she talked about white supremacy and the effects that it had on our people. So in 1950, black women were inspired by this poem that Bea Richards wrote. And it inspired them so much that they decided they need to come together. Come together in order to begin to have their voices heard about two things. One, the rape that was going on nationwide against black women and girls, primarily by white men. And very little was being said or done about it. This is the 1950s, actually 40s and so forth, but they made the statement in 1950. So they came together as the civil rights movement was beginning to evolve. This woman was powerful, powerful. And there's a documentary about her. And she talks about some very serious things that black women used to do in standing up to fight the system at a time when it was not very advantageous to do so.